Oh man, did I mess up? So I guess that chart that I read it wrong. Looks like the sun was transiting Ketu, my south node, but I was referring to it as Rahu. But anyway, when I took a minute to look at that chart, I guess it still coincides pretty well with everything that's going on. And for me to have a spiritual awakening and continue down that road of, following my destiny. So, from what I'm understanding, let me try to rehash the whole story all over again. So, the past few days have been pretty disturbing. Um, I wish I could make some sense out of all of this insanity, but it just seems that it's just not possible because my mother is just quite the character. Um, I asked if she wanted some items I found in my home while moving. She said yes. However, she wanted me to deliver it. I refused, and my eldest offered to deliver it instead. My mother then requested for other things, which I don't have. Needless to say, my son-in-law, in the end, was the one who dropped the items that I had sitting in the home. At that point, she had lost it, accusing me of having her things, calling my son-in-law all kinds of horrible things, such as, he's trash and a loser and a backstabber. She cursed me out. She cursed out my eldest child. She cursed out my son-in-law because he didn't see why it was necessary for his wife to take those things over to her. And when she's busy taking care of 3 kids at home, and he happens to be, just 10 minutes away from her, when he grabbed the items, so making it an easy trip for himself. She also threatened me to come after me, I guess via her witchcraft, voodoo black magic, like what she did with the dead birds that she threw in my backyard. That's when I decided to look into a chart, the astrological chart, to see what's going on for that particular day with all this insane activity. And when I did that, I noticed that it was the south node, not the north node, not Rahu, Ketu, was transiting, the sun was transiting my natal south node, or Ketu. This apparently is an indication of a period of introspection and potential detachment from material pursuits. Also, it could bring about a release of past patterns and a focus on spiritual awakening and destiny, which is still upon the same structure or feeling that I chose to embrace. Another thing that I noticed, that the moon was on my natal ascendant at the time when this was happening, and the moon represents your mother. So here's the moon crossing or transiting the natal ascendant, and at the same time, Mercury is conjunct that sun that was transiting that natal Ketu, our south node, and Mercury deals with communication. So, and I believe Mercury is retrograde right now also. So I had decided that instead of saying something to her, I decided just to ignore her. And I told my children, please think twice before you communicate with her, and apologize for this whole fiasco, I probably shouldn't have said anything about the things that I found. Or maybe I should have just gone over there in the middle of the night and dropped them off at her doorstep and run away like some fool. But coming into contact with her, it just seems to be very dangerous. Her behavior is aggressive, and she's very angry and explosive with her words and her actions. So I put extra cameras around my house now. The things that I do. I don't know what this woman's trying to do. She's just losing it here. And I shared what was going on with my friends, close friends and family. I mean, I don't know, considering that she wants to bring harm to me and it's in writing, I just feel it best. Maybe people should know. Funny thing is that she was going off about how, in a separate email, how talking about my father and talking about my destiny and talking about my life, and so I guess I'm indebted to her in some way, and I'm some sort of idiot also on top of that, as if I was unable to figure out how to take care of things in my life and I needed her to take care of them for me, which is ridiculous because I'm highly independent and don't depend on anybody. There's no one here but me and my children, who I make sure to take very good care of. And so, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. I also took the time to burn a candle, and that candle, well, was wow. So occasionally I'll burn candles for protection, and I'll write an intention on the candles, protect me and keep the harm away from me and such. And so this candle, I lit it when I noticed the activity was getting to be very extra. And as soon as I lit it, it just started to burst out in flames. Half the candle was completely black, and once that started to taper down, which was halfway through, the flame became very slow and took its time to die out. Usually, it takes about 2 to 3 days for a candle to burn. This took like 3 or 4 days, and so the first day was just burning like crazy, and then after that, just barely a burn. But it did burn all the way through, so which is a good sign. And hopefully that took care of any of that extra negative energy that was coming my way. Just a nice indication to show the negative energy and how hostile it was from that candle. So like I said, I decided to ignore her insanity. I don't want any part of it. I just want to stay in my peaceful state and continue my own spiritual awakening and forge my own destiny, since she thinks that I am some idiot who requires her assistance to proceed in this life. Why is she like this? Well, as we have found, it is in the stars. Just when you take a minute to read the astrology and learn the astrology, you'll find these things in the charts from the moment that you're born. And as these planets transit upon that natal chart of yours, you'll notice a lot of happenings occurring. I'm still trying to understand it myself. I'm learning, but I do feel that the astrology has some sort of control over our life. And I don't believe that we have any real free will. We have many choices, but I don't believe there's anything as actual free will. This is the very programmed and limited, structured life environment that we are working in. And I guess the moral of this story, when you make a cake, if you use an onion to make a cake, just keep in mind that onion is not going to really produce a very good cake. Best not to make cake with onions, because onions will always be an onion and a cake. And you cannot make a cake from an onion. So my mother will always be my mother, and you can't make cake with that. I'm sorry. Thank you. If you have anything you wish to share, pass me an email.